And not only do you drop it, you lose it in the bike somewhere because it has an... there it is. Take two. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Midlife Moto Garage. I'm Nick, and this is my 2025 Rivian R1T Tri-Motor. Not the intro you were expecting, huh? Right, me neither. Why am I coming to you live from inside of my pickup truck? Well, that has a very good answer. We are on our way down to go pick up our powder-coated parts from our boy Tyler over at Redline Custom Coatings. Tyler's got everything ready for us and said to come on down and come check them out and bring them back home. So hopefully we're going to get down there, pick our parts up, and get back to the garage and install them on the Speed Twin. All right, so we just pulled up here. We're going to take a little walk in, go see Tyler and the boys, check out what's going on around here.
Wrapping up your part.
Oh, look at you. You got one fresh off the... Oh my goodness, look at that.
A little bit better than ink black, I would say.
Heck yeah.
You see your reflection in it. I got this done for you too. I know you want to just...
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
so,
we just masked off everything and just did the head right there.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I really had no clue what went into the proper prep for a powder coating job until Tyler showed me what a set of wheels with the powder coat removed looked like from the factory versus a properly coated set from him. One of the things that we were really excited about was the gas cap and its inner workings. Tyler nailed it.
The most important part of powder coating is making sure the parts can go back together afterwards, so you need to ensure that all the bosses are cleaned. Here we have our throttle body covers, tail light cover, shift linkage, brake levers, side cover inserts, our beautiful gas cap, along with our gloss black headlight bezel. Boy, does that look great.
We've got all our parts. We had a good conversation with Tyler, checked out the inner workings of the shop, and I'm going to get out of his hair. We're going to get on the road and get these things installed on the bike, and I hope everybody sticks around with us. Tyler's information is down here, and it's also in the description. Okay, so we're ready to get started here with the rear set on the left side. We have already pre-installed our newly powder-coated shift selector lever onto the rear set because the head of the bolt is no longer accessible once it's on there. So this is pretty simple. This is going to be two 12mm head bolts, so two M8 bolts, the two little quick connect fasteners for the quick shift, and then two 4mm hex bolts for the heel guard. And do not forget your Loctite. So we've got our two M8 bolts, which have a 12mm head on them. And as you can see, I just have the quick shift kind of just dangling here, the Triumph Shift Assist module. So now let's not forget to Loctite the bolts. So we're gonna take our 243 and we're gonna take one of our bolts and we are going to goop it up a little bit, let it roll around on that bolt so we cover all the threads. And there we go, that's ready to rock. So we're gonna do that to the other bolt as well. Then we grab our rear set and we're gonna pop that bolt through and thread it into the frame of the bike. And we've got one more right here. Okay. So we've got the two bolts on the rear set in there loosely, and we're just gonna snug them up with our 12mm. We will torque these later, but as for the moment, we're just gonna get them tightened up so that we can then install our quick shifter and linkage. Okay, nice and snug. Nice and snug. Right. So the linkage rod that attaches to the transmission casing faces kind of like this. You can see there's a curve this way, and then these two little dots on the outside of
the boss that accepts the little ball, and that ball is what attaches to the shift assist. So we're gonna take the little ball and we're gonna throw a little dab of blue Loctite on it. Bam. And we are gonna thread that guy into the linkage rod. I wish I knew the terms. I don't know all the terms. I kind of just feel it out as I go here. Okay, so now we're just gonna tighten this, snug this guy up with our little 8mm wrench here. And there we go, nice and snug and Loctited. So now this guy goes back on to the bike. We're not 100% sure which way it's gotta go, so we're gonna clock it once we get the shift assist installed. The other little round quick release fastener, we're gonna put a little bit of Loctite on again, and we are going to thread that guy into the bottom of the rear set. This one for some reason is a little tricky to get started, but we got it. So now we are gonna just thread it all the way in and then give it a little bit of tension with the 8mm wrench again. Let's get the kickstand out of the way for 1 second, and that might make my life a little easier. There we go. All right, snugged up. So now on the quick shifter itself, there are these two little pins. If you've ever done hood or trunk struts on your car, you will notice these things immediately. Once the ball from these little quick releases goes through into this thing, this little tiny piece of metal locks the ball in. So we're gonna start on the rear one. And let's find where our little pinhole is. Okay, just wanna get it lined up and barely started in the hole so that we can still get it to go on, but it doesn't lock us up, but we're already started, so we kind of have a reference of where the thing needs to live. So we've got the pin and we are going to get it started in the edge of the hole, just barely. Pop that guy on to the bike. And then we push the pin through once we get it all the way on. There we go, it's all the way on. This makes much more sense. There we go. And that's it, the pin is in. Now we're gonna come around to the front ball. And we are going to remove the little pin from the front ball, which is just twist it out and then pull backwards. And then once we get that guy clicked onto this guy, bam. Now we just have to do that pin one more time. Push it through, wrap it around the bottom. Okay, now we get to pick where our gear shifter is going to sit in its neutral position. So I think that's about perfect for me, but I'd like it to go a little bit down from there as my starting point. So I think that's more where I want to be. There we go. All right, she's hooked back up. So now all we need to do is add our last bolt to pinch this off, and then our gear shifter linkage is all finished up. Perfect. And here's our last bolt. That's a 5mm hex We put a little dab of Loctite on it. Bam. And then we are going to pop it in to the little linkage adjuster. And if the bolt isn't going in perfectly, that's because you're not perfectly centered on the adjuster. So you have to get yourself there first. Okay. Seems like that guy's on and pretty perfect. So now we're just gonna try to snug it up a little bit with our 5mm hex. Now, of course, you can use better tools than this, but I don't think I need it. So pretty happy there. Last thing to do, we are going to pop a tiny little bit of Loctite onto our classic bike race heel guards, which of course needed to be removed to remove the rear set because they attach to the rear set. So we gooped them up with a little bit of blue Loctite. We're gonna grab our 4mm hex and we are going to tighten these guys right back onto the bike. Boy, do I wish they had black hardware. I don't know if you can tell or not, but a fair amount, that's all the old blue Loctite coming off, by the way. And there we have it. We're all set, done on this side with the gear selector and rear set. So I'm pretty happy there. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been working towards doing a little bit more blacking out of the bike. You may have noticed in a previous episode, I did the head bolt covers. Also did the case bolts for the engine covers. Now we've done the gear selector levers. I covered up the swing arm, rear engine mounting nut with black. And let's continue the blacking out. The next thing we're going to do is install this throttle body cover here. So here we go. Here's one of our throttle body covers. It is wonderfully black now and not shiny silver. I went and bought some little black bolts. These are M3s, I believe, or M4s, just because I thought it would look a little bit nicer with black bolts on the black covers. So that's what we're gonna do. You're gonna notice a little bit of a theme here. We're gonna throw some Loctite on these guys before we pop them on because we don't want our bolts vibrating off. And little blob on each bolt. And then we're just gonna pop the cover on. And that looks pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy about it. Lather, rinse, repeat, do the exact same thing on the other side, and that thing is done. Okay, so we wrapped up the other side of the bike. We threw on our throttle body cover on the right side of the bike. And now we've got our last thing to do on the right side here, which is install our new brake lever. So same brake lever, of course, just powder coated black. And in order to install it, you need to have, look at that. We even got the bolt powder coated black. We are going to apply a little bit of 243 to the threads of this bolt. Good. Now we're going to actually fit the brake lever itself. In order to do that, we need to remove the little retaining clip that holds the clevis pin in place. So that is just a tiny lift with our finger and bam, that little clip comes off. The first step of installing the lever is going to be to place that bolt through, that clevis pin through, and to reinstall the retaining clip from the back side onto the slave cylinder here. It's a little tiny bit fiddly, but not that hard overall. So we're just going to push it on like that, and bam. All right, now we are going to take our Loctited bolt and we're going to install it through the lever into the boss on the bike. And then we're going to tighten that up with our 6mm hex. Okay, get that guy nice and snug. Beautiful. Then the final step, and this is what we needed the needle nose for, is that these two springs that are attached to the bracket need to also go through this little tiny hole on the bottom of the brake pedal, because that's what returns the brake pedal to 0. So now we're gonna grab those needle nose. We're going to wrap those springs around just a tiny little bit, and then one spring at a time, we're gonna grab, well, that might be a lie, one spring at a time. We're gonna do both springs at a time, I think. But we don't wanna scratch up our brake lever here. There we go. Pull real hard. And they both get lined up precisely onto the lever itself. And now the lever springs back when depressed. Be nice if we could all spring back when we're depressed, huh? That's what I always say. Okay, next up, headlight bezel. A little simpler than this stuff, requires just your 5mm and the bezel itself.
This is our black, OEM black headlight bezel. This was also silver from the factory. And this one is super simple. We just pop it on. Snaps into place. Surprise, surprise. Another little bit of blue Loctite. Preload the little fastener onto the hex wrench. Just a little tiny drop of Loctite on there. Maybe it would help if I open the bottle. Okay, quick little drop. Bam. Yeah, snugged up and beautiful. Okay, so that is it for the headlight bezel, and I think that boy looks great. Big fan. Big fan, big fan.
All right, so it's time to start bolting these painted parts on. We are going to start with the easiest part of this whole job, which is going to be the rear mudguard. It's beautiful, it's pretty, it's Baja Orange. And in order to bolt that guy in, we had to reinstall the two rubber grommets and the steel spacers. They're like standoffs to make sure you can't over tighten this thing. So we're gonna back out those two, which require a T30 up underneath the subframe here. And then we've got the two 8mm nuts, 10mm nuts with 8mm bolts to take out. And then we pop this guy in and tighten it all up. Let's see how it works. Let me set that down so I don't destroy it. Okay, so now we've got contact all the way around. Everything feels great. So we're just gonna finish tightening. Perfect. Do that over on the other one. Good. Okay, so all that's left is to tighten up the frontmost bolts, which I'm gonna do now. There we go, there's one. Ooh, can we get this thing on there? Okay, frontmost bolts are tight, rearmost bolts are tight. I'm calling that done. I think that looks fantastic. Around this way. Yeah, I think she looks great. Can't wait to put it all together now. All right, moving on. Next on the list for reinstallation is the front mudguard. Now, I've already pre-assembled it to the fork protectors and the mounting brackets. So here she is in all of her beautiful glory. And the bolting it back on is very simple. It's a total of 4 bolts. They have a 5mm hex head. And we've already pre-applied some fresh Loctite blue to each one of the bolts so they don't rattle out. So the only real deal here is we need to slide this guy onto the tire and under the brake line. Okay. Now we've got our 5mm hex and our bolts, and we're just gonna get this guy lined up to the stock brackets. And we're gonna then drop the bolt, because why not? Okay, first one is started. So I'm gonna head over to the other side, get the second one started. Then this thing is basically living in the position that it is going to live. Okay, so we got both started. Let's put our second one in on this side. Okay, we got both started on this side. Now we're gonna get our last bolt started on this side. So pro tip, right? This is something I always try to do. Get all of your bolts in started loosely before you start tightening anything, because the littlest misalignment of a part to the bike and you're never gonna get that last bolt in. So save yourself a ton of headaches and get all your bolts started before you tighten any of them. So this is my last one that I need to start. So I am going to get this one snugged all the way in. Perfect. We'll do that on the top one as well now. Good. Now, the final step here is to clip the brake line back in to the little plastic retaining clips that locate it, and you're done. Look at that beautiful part. Now on to what should be the easiest part of the whole deal, but of course, I had to complicate it. We've got our painted and powder coated side covers. So we had these, we disassembled them. This is aluminum, so we had that powder coated black. This is the stock factory plastic, so we left that black. This was all black, these two pieces, so we made those orange, because of course. And then the final step, this is the only thing that makes it a little bit more complicated, is I don't love the silver mesh inside of there. So if you recall from our way back in our first episode, we did the Evotech radiator guard. And we took a second Evotech radiator guard and we cut it in half and used it as the grill for our belly pan so that it looked like one cohesive piece. Well, we have the other half that we're gonna split into two pieces and use it as the mesh on the side covers. So that's about what she's gonna look like. I would say right about there. But this is gonna be black. And then we also have to reapply the OEM Speed Twin 1200 decals to the side covers. Basically, what we need to do is we need to get in on each one of these and give a little pry out on the metal and try very hard not to mess up the plastic stud. A lot of the times, once you get them loosened up a little bit, they will kind of spin off of the stud. They're not supposed to, they're not a threaded fastener, but sometimes you can get them to climb the stud by prying slightly and then trying to spin, and then prying slightly and then trying to spin. Lather, rinse, repeat. Bam. Okay. So that's one down, 9 more to go between the two side covers. And I'm just gonna keep working and I'm not gonna talk about it, so you know what to do. Okay, so the cuts are done, and now we are going to throw this in the garbage, and we are going to finish working on these. We might have to drill a couple holes because the holes may not line up correctly for our posts, and we are definitely going to need to clean up the edges with the belt sander and make it not hazardous to touch. So we're gonna do that part first before we hurt ourselves. Okay, so here's our left side cover. Here's our left side cover's mesh insert. Okay. So it turns out that only the one that tried to walk is going to be a big pain in the butt for us. So let's do a little bit more work on that one. Okay, so we've done a little bit of modifying to our little mesh insert here. And we've enlarged some of the holes. And oh boy, does that look cool. I'm gonna give you a little close up on this camera because why not? Yeah. Okay. So the only thing left to do here is reattach our little quote unquote one-way fasteners, which we are going to, we pried the crap out of them and they have these little ears. So now we're just gonna bend those ears a little bit flat again. So I'm just gonna put them flat on the counter and hit them with a hammer real quick, just to bend each one of the teeth back to square. Okay, then we'll find our center. Push that guy on first. Okay, center's on. And our last one. And there she goes. So the next step is clean, apply a sticker, and then we're gonna throw it on the bike. Well, of course, the next step is to do exactly what we did to this panel, to the other panel, but why watch it?
5 hours later.
Boy, wasn't that fun. So now that we've got our black mesh inside of each one of our side covers, our last step to get these side covers back onto the bike is going to be to install the OEM Speed Twin 1200 decal. Now, the coolest thing that happened to me this week is my body guy reminded me, hey, I made these cool little traces to line up to the top port to show me exactly where my decals go. So I thought that was very nice of him. So remember, before you adhere anything to anything, it's gotta be clean. The adhering interface needs to be perfectly clean. So my first step, well, my last step before I go and install any vinyl decals is to clean with isopropyl rubbing alcohol. So I'm gonna do that now, and we're going to get these things ready for their new stickers. And yes, I'm using a brand spanking new microfiber towel so that I don't transfer any metal shavings. Okay. This one's nice and cleaned. I'm just gonna give this one a nice wipe as well. So the last thing you wanna do is scratch your brand new parts while you're cleaning them. So always make sure to use a brand spanky new microfiber towel. All right, these guys are ready for their close-ups. So this is my left side cover here, and I got this little LH to line up perfectly there, and that'll tell me exactly where my decal needs to go. So let's get ourselves figured out left to right. Okay. So we are going to line up the back edge of the 2 with the edge of the hole here, and the bottom of the sticker will line up with the top of the slot, which will get us almost exactly where the sketch out had us. Just a little bit more, just to make sure there's nothing that got stuck. Darn it. And we screwed up already. Okay, now let's get nope. Well, we're going to have to get a new sticker because we messed up our 1200 logo there. Where is it? Right about there. Yep, screwed that up. So that's going to be like an $18 mistake I just taught myself, a lesson I just taught myself. But this guy's going to go back on the bike for now until I can get a hold of another sticker. Let's see if we can't get this right
on the other side of the bike. So we're going to be using the same height measurement, but the $1,200 is aligned differently on this side. So we are going to line up the inscribed section of the two with the edge of the hole, and that's going to be as good as we can do. You know what they say, second time's the charm. And as you can see, the second one came out absolutely perfect. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's get these babies on the bike, right? We're done at the workbench for now. Now that the hard work's done, the easy part is next. We're gonna grab our side cover, and there are a total of 4 little detents. I'm gonna hit those little rubber grommets, which hold the 4 points. I'm gonna hit those with a little bit of silicone spray, just to make sure these slide on and off really easily. These have been off the bike for a long time, so. So this is just regular DuPont silicone lube. So I'm just going to take some of this, give it a little on each one of those little rubber grommets. Now we're going to press this guy in. Wow. That looks pretty wonderful. Okay. The final piece that we're going to be installing in this episode is our seat. You may have noticed it in the last episode. I didn't talk about it. But we're going to keep the Corbin Gunfighter and Lady saddle that we installed in a previous video. We're going to keep that for just when my wife and I are riding together. As far as for the single saddle, I got a hold of the Factory Triumph Cafe Racer seat with the color matched seat cowl. And don't forget, when you're going for the full effect here, this is the Tamaret belly pan that, if you recall from a previous episode, we installed and modified the grating. So I had this painted by Tamaret to match. And I'm going to be honest, I am not happy with the paint match. The paint color match was wonderful, but in 170 miles of riding, the paint was destroyed. When I went back to Tamaret, they had said, well, that's just what happens to belly pans.
So when I took it in with these other parts to be paint matched, my body guy said, yeah, I'll just repaint this thing for you, no big deal. And sent me pictures of using the air gun to blow off the orange paint that was on there because it just came off so easily. So I think it was maybe a not great surface prep is my best guess. In full disclosure, Tamarit offered to repaint the part when I informed them of it, which is super awesome customer service. Anyways, the reason this is not going back on the bike is because I am also going to PPF this, but I can't PPF anything that's been so freshly painted, so this doesn't get to go on for a couple of weeks. So just for right now, I mean, it's a pretty great look, right? I mean, with this much going on. And the piece de resistance for this whole build is the MGO Venom half fairing, bikini fairing, whatever you'd like to call it. So this actually does not fit this bike. I had to make a bunch of modifications to the headlight to get it raised up and pushed out slightly from where it was. And then because the headlight attachment on the 2025s is different to pretty much every motorcycle headlight ever, I had to order a standard headlight bracket and install it. And then this will kind of just fit over there. All right, so screw it, let's keep moving. I'm too excited to try to fit this cowl up. So, I did the little test fit before and I realized I have these headlight brackets on upside down. And then this turn signal has to go up a little higher. So I'm just gonna rework that super quickly and I'm not really gonna narrate it. boy, was that a lot of fun. So many adjustments, back, forth, up, down, in, out, whatever, to get everything centered perfectly on the headlight, to get it centered vertically on the headlight, and the tilt of the screen, which I may adjust later, I'm not 100% sure. But I did make this bottom retaining bracket, which will bolt into the stock headlight location. There is a tiny little plastic plug in the bottom of the headlight bracket, and I removed that plug. Turns out it was tapped for an M8 hole. So M6, M8, whatever. So I used that as my lower attachment point for the bracket. And then there is one little tiny hole in the bottom of the fairing, and that will hold the bracket to the fairing. Looks good. I'm pretty sure it looks good. I'm very happy with what I've got going on right here. And yeah, it's only gonna make me even happier once I put that belly pan back on and this thing looks like a true retro sport bike. I'm super excited. So do me a favor, let me know what you think down in the comments now that this thing is starting to be fully assembled again. I'm super happy. I hope you're super happy. If you're not super happy, tell me about it in the comments. If you are super happy, tell me about it in the comments. Okay, so a couple adjustments left to make. I think I'm gonna relocate these turn signals up into the brackets that I'm mounting the fairing on with, because I feel like it would actually be the perfect spot for them versus the little Moto collets that I put on there earlier. So I'm gonna go now, and I think I'm just gonna stand here and stare at this bike for a couple hours. I appreciate all of you for making it this far with me, and I appreciate every one of you that's been on this journey with me all the way back since episode 1. So I think it's time to end this one. And as always, everybody, remember, wrench, regret, repeat. We'll catch you on the next one.